Choose not to be harmed and you won't feel harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. Marcus Aurelius. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Martin Luther King Jr. Stoicism teaches us how to handle misfortune. Because when you really think about it, it doesn't matter what happens to you. What matters is how you will interpret what happens to you. So even when something negative happens to you, you can choose to focus on the positive side of things. Now you may be thinking, well, that's counterintuitive. How can I possibly focus on positive when something really negative happens in my life? But you see, the reality is that I believe that, we can really condition ourselves to look for positive side of anything that happens to us. And this is what Stoics used to do. Stoics try to turn each obstacle into an opportunity. And that's very important. This is what can make all the difference, all right? So for example, let's say that you've just spent a couple of days writing that one important article. And then at one point, your computer crashed, you haven't saved your work, and everything got deleted. You feel like your life is over, right? You have to start all over again. Or maybe you just missed your flight. There was a massive traffic jam, you didn't get to the airport on time, and you missed your flight. And as a result, you couldn't attend that really important meeting. So what's your first reaction? Well, you get pissed off, right? You get really pissed off. You feel like your life is over, you hate yourself, you hate everybody, you hate the world. But the question is it not counterproductive? Okay, having this attitude, focusing on the negative side of things? Now, of course, it's the first reaction, but isn't it better to really control your focus and try to find the positive side of those situations? Well, when you really put a lot of effort, you can find something positive. So for example, you missed your flight, you couldn't attend that business meeting, but maybe thanks to that, in the future when you have even more important flight, you will not miss it because you've just learned that you need to leave home much earlier just in case something happens. Maybe because you lost that work, that article, you have to write it again, and as a result, you will learn your subject even better, and the article will end up being a much more compelling piece, all right? Because you put way more effort into writing that article. So when you really think about it, you can turn pretty much any negative situation into something positive. Now, some people could say, well, is it not pushing it? Well, the way I see it, what's the point of focusing on a negative? You can't go back to the past. You can't change what happened. The only thing you can do is to choose what you focus on. Because the reality is that your perception becomes your reality. Now let me share with you how Epictetus approached this subject. It's a little bit extreme, but I'm pretty sure that when you listen to his words, they will make a lot of sense. They will make you think. So-and-so's son is dead. What happened? His son is dead. Nothing else? Not a thing. So-and-so's ship sank. What happened? His ship sank. So-and-so was carted off to prison. What happened? He was carted off to prison. But if we now add to this, he has had bad luck, then each of us is adding this observation in his own account. There is one more thing I would like to discuss, namely, Freud used to say happiness is based on contrast. Happiness is based on contrast. Really think about it. Makes so much sense, right? When you think about it, cold shower feels so amazing after a really hot day. At the same time, hot shower feels great after the entire day spent on the ski slopes. It's all about the contrast, right? So when something negative happens in your life, instead of focusing on the negativity, say to yourself, well, I feel bad right now, but thanks to that, I will appreciate more in the future. Never forget about it when you go through hard times. On the final note, I tried to make this video pretty simple, pretty actionable. The reality is that we could talk about Stoicism for hours. Now, if you want to delve a bit deeper and learn about Stoics, I highly recommend several books that I read personally. First of all, read The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Now, Ryan studied Stoics for a very long time, and he basically took all this knowledge and he put it in his book in a very digestible form. So it's a really quick read, but it's going to change the way you perceive the world. Now, if you want to delve deeper, I highly recommend Seneca. So definitely On the Shortness of Life, a great book, and also Letters from a Stoic. Really great reads that will change your perspective. And finally, I highly recommend Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.